What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm sure, like many of you, I've spent the last couple of days looking at the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 beta, trying out the new modes, trying out all the new features of it. Look to the channel in the next couple of days for a video that has a broader outlook on exactly the things that I enjoyed about the beta, some of the things that I'm concerned about, kind of like a highlights, lowlights kind of situation. However, today we need to talk about something which I wanted to make a specific video about because I just don't get it. What might that thing be? I'm in actual fact referring to this grotesque, over-designed monstrosity of a fucking UI that somehow found its way into this game, and I just don't understand how we went from something which was kind of like fleshed out and built in Modern Warfare 2019 to what we basically have here. Now, to a larger degree, this discussion actually also kind of taps into how convoluted and overcomplicated Gunsmith 2.0 is, but I feel like these two issues aren't really helping each other out because yes, the UI is super fucking cumbersome and really weird to work through, and then when you throw the overall unneeded complication of Gunsmith 2.0 on top of that, it just all fucking falls apart. Now, before we dive into the detail, I know that I'm making a video complaining about a beta, and that is entirely possible that that's the idea of a beta, is to put certain things out in the game, and then essentially if enough people complain about it, or if it's obtuse enough that it causes a ruckus, that the studio will actually make some changes to it. However, when it comes to things like this, like the interface that we're working with, it is highly unlikely that this will be changed by the time the game launches, especially in the case of this particular game, because this game right now is less than a month away from launching. So the issue is that most likely whatever we have in here, unless it causes that big of an issue that we see some patches down the line to change it, is pretty much what we're stuck with, and what we're stuck with is a convoluted mess. Now, firstly, as just generally talking about the UI itself, the problems that we have here is that we have menus embedded within menus and settings which affect other settings that is not clearly, detailed that is actually what it's going to do. So what I mean by this, for example, is if we just look at the loadouts here, right? So this here are all the loadouts that I've created so far. Now, I can edit each one of these individually, and just looking at the interface here right now, it kind of seems to me like this was built with the idea of navigating these menus with a controller, and so it seems a little bit obtuse, it seems a little bit over-designed when you try to do it with a mouse and keyboard, because the point is with a mouse you can just actually aim directly at the boxes that you want to work with, whereas you can clearly see, like for instance, this custom loadout box here has a edit and an options section there, which means that they can assign it to, one side is like the one hat button, one side is the other hat button, something like that. I haven't actually plugged the controller in here to see if it actually feels better to move through, but at the same time, it makes me feel bad about complaining about this, because aesthetically being able to look at the guns like this is fucking fantastic. But once you actually start drilling into this, so again, just explaining to you here, basically we have custom loadouts here. You can create a completely brand new loadout by clicking play here, and then you get some sort of like standard kind of archetypes that you can create. And what this does is it actually opens up specific field upgrades and specific perk packages to you that you might actually have to level up to get to. A very good example of this is the fact that, as you can see here, I can get dead silence by building a hunter stalker loadout. However, staying the same level, if I pick assault rusher or tank sentinel, then you'll see that this, and I'm just quickly jumping through it to show you, you'll see that dead silence is actually locked behind level 30. So I, again, don't know if this was specifically made this way for the beta so that people could sample some of these without having to grind to 30, and that's the case, fucking sweet, but I don't think so. I think this is the idea, really, that it is set up like this, and it just seems really fucking weird. Now, further on, what I meant by menus being, part of menus, is that in the case of this, my loadouts here, right, you'll notice that they are perk packages. So I'll just quickly open up another loadout again. I think I've actually lost some of my loadouts now. Oh no, here is the shit, it's right back here. So if I open up this, you'll see they are perk packages. Now, these also, you can create specific perk packages, and you can, sort of customize which perks belong with which perks for your different packages. But these are also linked to your loadouts. So if you make a change here, it will affect all loadouts for that. And again, that is not very well explained. So you might in actual fact mess up some of your other loadouts if you have a bunch of these in there, because you are editing one perk package which you actually have shared somewhere else. Again, it doesn't really show how these things are all linked together, and it just makes it super difficult to grasp the idea of what they're trying to do here. Then last and certainly not least, before we actually get specifically into issues that I have with Gunsmith 2.0 and how difficult it is to understand the leveling paths to get to the gun that you're looking for, just from a simple perspective of what is written on the screen, it kind of feels like this thing needs a lot of fucking work still. If I open up just the base M4 here and I click on it, I say equip, I go to the gunsmith. See there, I had to click 3 things just to get to the actual fucking gunsmith. Then you'll notice that if I just click on barrel here, for instance, I go through some of the barrels. Look at this. And again, I feel bad about having to complain about this, but really, look at the fucking... It doesn't even fit into the frames or anything like that. And again, it seems like maybe this is designed for a TV in terms of the spacing, and now you have a resolution crash or something like that on a monitor. It's just really rough looking, right? And I know, I'm literally sitting here complaining about writing, overwriting, other writing, but I mean, it's the fucking little things that count. Now, getting to the back part of the video and my issue with how leveling up in this game actually works, I have to just quickly explain the old system, and let's call it the Modern Warfare 2019 system, and the changes that I presume they were trying to make it less cumbersome. So quickly in a nutshell, 2019, how it worked is you had a bunch of weapons, and those weapons, they unlocked at specific character levels. So at level 5, you got the AK-47. At level 7, you got like some pistol. At level 9, you got the MP5, and so on and so forth. And then when you wanted to actually unlock attachments for those weapons, you would then take that weapon, you would equip it, and you just rack up XP with it. And over time, you will unlock sights and additional mags and, all of these different things. Now, the big complaint that most people had with that is, as we had seasons over the course of the years that game was available, and obviously all of the different guns were added with different season passes, about 2 to 3 guns every season pass, people started getting tired of constantly having to start from essentially 0 with a weapon, and then how many times are you going to unlock the Snake Penis VX7 sight for the gun, and the 50 round mag and all of that. So one of the things that Gunsmith 2.0 wanted to address, and at least how they explained it when at Call of Duty Next, was that what Gunsmith 2.0 would eliminate is that once you would unlock a specific sight, a specific mag, a fucking laser or anything like that, it would be available for all guns within that platform, or for all guns in general. Now that's kind of true. And yes, looking at it from that perspective, that would save a shitload of time. But what is not clearly apparent is that you would still be stuck playing certain weapons to certain levels to actually get the platform, aka the fucking gun that you want to use to shoot with. Let me explain, because as complicated as that sounds, it's even more complicated in fucking practice. So looking at the M4 here, and the big word, the key word here, is platforms. That's the whole thing that they're selling. So when you look at the different weapons here, you have assault rifles. These are all assault weapons, but some of them share platforms. Have a look at M4 at the top there. It says platform, M4 platform. If you look at the M16, it also says M4 platform, because the frames start from the same place. What this means is when you pick the M4, you can at the top here choose, well, let's get into the actual gun and into the gunsmith. We can choose at the top here, progression. Now you'll notice it starts out, right, with the M4 being the first thing that's unlocked. Then, as you level up during playing the M4, at certain points, you unlock additional platforms. That means then the next gun available shows up. So as an example, what I'm trying to show is that this M4, you'll level up and you'll unlock these attachments. This also means that these attachments, some of them which are applicable, like for instance, I highly doubt you'd be able to put a 20 times sight on a fucking submachine gun, but who knows? You'll be able to use these attachments on all these other platforms that you unlock. But it means that you would need to level up the M4 all the way to 13 to get this receiver, which is another, part of this platform, which then allows you to actually use this FTAC Recon, which is a marksman rifle, at which point, and I'm just trying to switch between this stuff here, 1 second. So at which point, see how this is so hectic, you can roll through it with the mouse wheel, just what the fuck. But in any case, then you'd have to play this Recon rifle all the way up to level 16 to be able to unlock the submachine gun version of this platform, the submachine gun receiver, and then you will level that up to get all of the attachments for that. So the bottom line is this. Let's, for example, say that you are someone that plays run and gun, close quarters combat the entire time, and you kind of really don't have any interest whatsoever in sniper rifles, in LMGs, or in assault rifles for that matter. You just want to run submachine guns and maybe pistols, something like that. It still means that there's this entire fucking mess that you will have to level through on weapons that you don't necessarily want to be playing with just to get to the weapon type that you want. Now, I ask though, is this really the better solution to the problem that people had with the old system? Because again, the old system forced you to redo the same thing over and over and over, but at the very least, you could unlock that weapon and use that weapon from the beginning, unlocking attachments for it. Whereas here, you have to play a whole heap of weapons which you might not necessarily enjoy, which might turn you off the entire experience to actually get to the weapon that you want to use. Honestly, to me, this seems like one of those cases where if you're someone that designed this and that thought this up on paper, it sounded really cool, and because you know about it, you're like, yeah, it's fucking logic. Of course it works this way. Whereas the rest of us that are only now seeing this for the first time are going like, why is this so complicated for a solution so simple? Simply make it so that once you unlock a 50-round mag for submachine guns, it's unlocked for all submachine guns. Once you do the same thing for assault rifles, it's unlocked for all assault rifles. And let the weapons unlock on a scale or something like that. This system means that any amount of time that you're supposed to be saving from grinding out every single weapon, you will still eventually have to grind out all of the platforms to 100% to actually get all of the attachments that are fitting onto the specific weapon that you're looking. Never mind the fact that you might need to grind your way to 2 or 3 or 4 different weapons on different platforms or different receivers to actually get to the weapon that you want. And that to me is not a cheaper way, or not cheaper, but that's not an easier way. It's not a less time way. It's just a different fucking more convoluted way. And that was really the reason for the video. I didn't want to make it too long, but as you can see, I'm quite spirited about this, but I'm open to the discussion. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are experiencing this as well. Is it frustrating to you too? I think it's even more frustrating that I know that nothing's going to be done about this, and this is kind of like what we're stuck with until maybe they create a patch or something for it down the line after enough people complain. But it really sucks though, because I'm super excited about the game and I didn't want to make a video where I just fucking shit on something or complain about it. But this is a AAA title that is launching within less than a month, and this seems like something that should have been caught up in playtesting when, you know, a guy off the street, anybody was looking at this going like, why is this so fucking complicated? Anyway, that's it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. It's just super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are in the world. And until next video, fucking cheers.
They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me.